let's talk some of the big leaders of the last year, all the Magnificent Seven, the tech giants. This week, it seemed like the market was more interested in the laggards, the losers, the zombies in the junk. What do you make of that?
Well, I think that the breadth in the market is going to improve, which we saw this week. But we just feel that the Magnificent Seven will continue to be the magnificent because at this point, their business models just work, right? With an increased focus in cloud and with an increased focus in artificial intelligence, we think that these companies are going to continue to do well, but at the same time, breadth in the market will improve.
So breadth improving overall, a good thing, even if it's given some of these laggards a second chance. I mean, there's stuff that people thought was like bankruptcy bait over the last couple months that's springing back. How do we know if these businesses really are getting an extension of their lifespan?
So we would go sector by sector, right? Because again, the volatility in this market is going to continue, even though we are constructive on the long term. Because with the 10-year Treasury being at close to a 16-year high, the risk-free trade is very attractive. So every time there's some negative news, there'll be a flight to safety. So we think that investors are good to hedge on the downside, and they can do that by looking at some of these large oil companies because we feel that because of the geopolitical tensions, oil prices are going to go up. We also feel that with volatility in the market, gold should fare well. And then selectively in certain sectors, like for example in the large banks, we see some opportunities there as well.
Now, the oil trade, it sounds like it's interesting the way you phrase that as a hedge, basically, where like you think that the market, when the market overall slips, energy will outperform, or that the kind of black swan risk of geopolitics gives crude oil a hedging property?
Yeah, because of the tensions that are going on geopolitically, we feel that there are eventually going to be supply constraints, which are going to drive up oil prices. And a lot of these large oil companies, Oliver, they are trading at, their break-even on oil is lower than what the current price is. So if the price of oil goes up, they will benefit. We also feel that the world economy by 2045 is going to more than double. And in the meantime, we feel that this transition away from fossil fuel is going to take time. So I think that's going to drive up the oil prices as well. So we think generally the bigger players, the bigger oil companies will do well in this environment.
Okay. How does the view on oil and the slow death of fossil fuels inform maybe a view on EVs and Tesla? Tesla's one of the few mega caps that is still trending lower very clearly on the chart for multiple years. So much has come back to records and broke out. Tesla's pretty far behind all the other giants. What do you make of that?
So Tesla is a stock on our watch list that we really like, and we think that in the short term there are certain headwinds because especially with rates going up so much, it's going to affect the consumer's ability to finance and to buy an expensive car. But at the same time, on the longer term point of view, we think there's a bigger trend here, which is by 2035 we anticipate that the number of electrical vehicles on the road is going to increase by 500%. And Tesla is a big beneficiary of that because if you look at the sales of electrical vehicles in the US, Oliver, in the first 6 months, Tesla outsold the next 19 competitors combined.
Yeah, they've got a pretty big lead. The only thing, though, is that they don't have a massive lead on the truck just yet. The Cybertruck, can it live up to expectations, Aadil?
Well, that is something that we have to wait and watch and see how that plays out. But I think, they've got a lot of good things going on which we could focus on. Like, for example, they're spending a lot. They're making progress on the artificial intelligence for the self-driving software, which could lead to the robo-taxi business, which in itself could be a big game changer. So we'll wait on the Cybertruck, but I think there are other positives there that the company could benefit from.
All right. Aadil, glad we got you reconnected to have the conversation on this Friday. Appreciate you being here and coming down to our spot at the NYSE.
Good to be with you.
Appreciate that. Aadil Zaman, Wall Street Alliance Group partner. some good thoughts there on how energy might still play into this and have a role to play.